Vincent had just finished calibrating a salvaged power coupling when the frantic pounding began. The sound echoed through his cluttered workshop, urgent and desperate. He grabbed the plasma torch from his workbench, more habit than fear, and approached the reinforced door cautiously. Through the security feed, he saw her, an alien woman with striking orange skin and disheveled blonde hair glancing over her shoulder as if death itself pursued her. Against his better judgment, he opened the door. She stumbled inside, collapsing at his feet with a gasp that sounded universal in its exhaustion. "Please," she whispered in accented standard, her golden eyes pleading, "hide me! The hunters, they are coming! I have nowhere else!" Vincent helped her to a sitting position, noting the cuts on her arms and the way she trembled. Before he could respond, she did something that froze him in place. She pressed both hands over her heart, bowed her head, and spoke in a formal, ritualistic tone. "I offer you my life bond, my service, my protection, my devotion. Everything I am belongs to you now. I will guard you with my life, serve your needs, and never leave your side. This is my sacred vow." Vincent stared at her, completely stunned. He'd expected her to offer money, stolen technology, perhaps information. But this? "Wait, hold on," he said, kneeling beside her. "I don't want a servant. I don't want you bound to me or whatever that means. Let me just help you, okay?" Her expression shifted to confusion, as if he'd spoken an alien language far stranger than her own. He guided her gently to his small living quarters behind the workshop, offering water and activating his medical scanner. The readings showed exhaustion, dehydration, and minor injuries consistent with weeks of running. As he secured the workshop's perimeter and checked the security feeds, she watched him with cautious, uncomprehending eyes. Her people clearly had different customs, different expectations. When he gestured to his bed and took a blanket for himself to sleep on the workshop cot, she whispered something in her native tongue, a phrase that sounded like gratitude and disbelief intertwined. Vincent locked the door and dimmed the lights, wondering what exactly he'd just gotten himself into. 3 days passed in careful adjustment. Vincent discovered quickly that Sarah, as she quietly introduced herself, couldn't accept simple kindness without attempting to repay it. He found her at dawn on the second day, having organized his entire chaotic workshop with meticulous precision. Tools hung in perfect rows, parts sorted by function and size, and his neglected floor actually visible beneath the grime she had scrubbed away. "You don't have to do this," he said gently, but she only looked at him with those luminous golden eyes, confused by his objection. Over breakfast on the third morning, synthetic protein bars and a rare imported fruit he'd been saving, they finally talked. Sarah explained her people, the Corvashi, in halting but improving standard. Once, the life bond had been sacred, offered only in profound gratitude to those who saved another's life. It meant partnership, mutual protection, and deep trust. But over generations, powerful Corvashi corrupted the tradition, turning it into a tool of exploitation and control. Young women were pressured into offering life bonds to wealthy merchants, politicians, and consortium leaders, bonds that became indistinguishable from slavery. "I refused," she said quietly, her orange fingers tightening around her cup. "The merchant Lord Vexian claimed I owed my family's debt. He demanded my bond. When I fled, he hired hunters, said I stole myself from him." Her voice carried such weariness that Vincent felt anger kindle in his chest. He told him then his own story, a former colony engineer who'd watched the same consortium exploit his friends, paying poverty wages while extracting wealth from desperate rim worlds. He'd left, preferring honest repair work to complicity. Something shifted between them as morning light filtered through the workshop's high windows. When Sarah reached for his empty cup to wash it, Vincent gently caught her hand. "You're not my servant, Sarah. You're a person who needed help. That's all." Her golden eyes widened, and for the first time since arriving, she almost smiled. "Your people are strange, Vincent," she whispered. But she didn't pull her hand away.
The proximity alarm shattered their fragile peace on the fifth night. Vincent bolted upright from his cot as red warning lights bathed the workshop in crimson. 3 heat signatures approaching, armed, moving with tactical precision. Sarah appeared instantly from the back room, fear naked on her face. "They found me," she breathed. Vincent's mind raced. His workshop sat on Harlow's Reach's industrial outskirts, isolated enough that no one would hear weapons fire. The hunters wouldn't care about witnesses anyway. "The smuggler's cache," Vincent said suddenly, pulling up the workshop's ancient floor panel hidden beneath his main workbench. Colonial engineers had built this place decades ago with hidden storage for flexible cargo transfers. The space beneath could fit one person uncomfortably. Sarah began to descend immediately, but Vincent stopped her. "Wait, let me try talking to them first. They might not—" She gripped his arm with surprising strength, her orange fingers digging into his sleeve. "They will kill you for harboring me. Please, Vincent, let me go to them. I will tell them you knew nothing." The suggestion ignited something fierce in his chest. "Absolutely not!" The pounding on his door began, hard, authoritative. Vincent positioned himself at his workstation, activating several repair tools to look busy. He opened the door to find 3 figures, 2 humans and 1 Corvashi male, all bearing consortium security badges and very illegal plasma rifles. "Good evening," Vincent said casually, though his heart hammered. "Workshops closed." The lead hunter pushed past him, with a scarred woman with cold eyes. "We're tracking a fugitive. Orange skin, blonde hair, Corvashi female. Scanners put her in this sector." Vincent shrugged. "Haven't seen anyone matching that description. Been working solo all week." They began searching anyway, overturning equipment and kicking through his organized parts bins, Sarah's careful work destroyed in moments. The Corvashi hunter moved towards the back room, and Vincent positioned himself subtly between them and the workbench hiding Sarah. "Funny thing," the lead hunter said, studying her scanner. "This says there's a life signature beneath your floor." Vincent felt ice in his veins. The scanner must be military grade, too sensitive for the basic shielding in that old cache. As the hunters raised their weapons, Sarah burst from her hiding place in a blur of orange skin and desperate courage, placing herself between Vincent and the plasma rifles. "Don't hurt him," she cried. "I surrender. Just let him live."
The workshop erupted into chaos. The lead hunter grabbed Sarah roughly, binding her wrists with plasma cuffs that hummed with energy. But Vincent wasn't finished. "Wait," he said, his voice carrying an authority he'd learned in his corporate days. "You're consortium security, right? That means you follow salvage law." The hunters paused, confused. Vincent moved to his terminal, pulling up files he'd carefully maintained. "This workshop operates under registered salvage rights. That includes any organic matter that enters seeking refuge. Section 47 of the Outer Rim Commercial Code." The scarred hunter laughed harshly. "You can't claim salvage rights on a person, engineer." But Vincent was already transmitting data. "I'm not claiming her as salvage. I'm claiming the situation under sanctuary protocols for indentured workers fleeing illegal contracts. I've documented everything. Her arrival, her stated reason for fleeing, and the nature of the life bond she claims was being forced on her. Vexian's demand violates 16 labor regulations." The hunter's expressions shifted. Consortium security operated in moral gray zones, but documented regulatory violations could trigger audits they definitely didn't want. Sarah stared at Vincent with shock and something deeper, gratitude mixed with dawning realization. The lead hunter consulted her datapad, her jaw tightening. "This is corporate business, engineer. Walk away." Vincent stood his ground. "This is my workshop, my sanctuary claim, and I'm transmitting copies of these documents to 3 separate legal networks as we speak. If she disappears or dies, everyone will know why." The bluff was dangerous. The hunters could kill them both and destroy the evidence, but consortium security avoided complications that drew attention from the core world's regulatory committees. After a long, tense moment, the lead hunter released Sarah's bindings. "Vexian won't forget this," she said coldly. "Neither will the consortium. You just made powerful enemies." They left, their footsteps echoing into the night. As the door sealed, Vincent's legs nearly gave out from adrenaline crash. Sarah caught him, her strong arms steadying him. "You should have let them take me," she whispered, but her voice broke. "You risked everything." Vincent looked into her golden eyes, seeing her truly for the first time, not as a desperate fugitive or a cultural enigma, but as someone worth risking everything for. "No," he said quietly. "I really shouldn't have." She pulled him close then, her forehead resting against his, and they stood together in the ruined workshop while the danger dissipated into the cold, rim-world night. Something profound had shifted between them, unspoken but undeniable. The days following the hunter's departure brought unexpected peace. Vincent and Sarah worked together to repair the damage to the workshop, but the atmosphere between them had transformed entirely. She no longer tried to serve him with ritualistic devotion. Instead, they moved as partners. She handed him tools before he asked. He anticipated when she needed rest. Their movements synchronized like a dance neither had practiced, but both somehow knew. One evening, as binary stars set beyond the workshop's high windows, Sarah found Vincent on the small balcony he'd built for watching the settlement's lights. She carried 2 cups of real coffee, an extravagant purchase from his recent repair jobs. "I have been thinking," she said softly, settling beside him, "about my life bond offer." Vincent tensed slightly, but she continued. "I offered it from desperation, from cultural obligation. I thought that was what humans would understand, a transaction, a debt." She set down her cup and turned to face him fully. "But you taught me something, Vincent. You showed me that protection should not come with chains, that kindness does not require servitude." Her orange fingers reached tentatively to his hand, and he met him halfway. "In my language, we have another word, kalashi. It means chosen bond. Not given from debt, but offered freely between equals who choose to stand together." Her golden eyes held his with an intensity that made his breath catch. "If you would accept, I offer you kalashi. Not as your servant, but as your partner, your equal. Your—" She trailed off, searching for the word. Vincent supplied it quietly. "More." Sarah's face brightened with a smile that transformed her entirely, erasing the fear and exhaustion he'd first seen. "Yes, more." He cupped her face gently, marveling at the warmth of her orange skin, the way her blonde hair caught the fading starlight. "I accept, Sarah. I choose you too." Their kiss was tender, exploratory, 2 beings from different worlds learning a new language together. That night, in the small quarters behind the workshop, they learned each other with careful hands and whispered discoveries. She showed him the sensitive ridges along her collarbone, where Corvashi marked their chosen partners with ceremonial ink. He traced the patterns with reverent fingers, promising to learn everything about her culture's true beauty. They fell asleep intertwined, 2 refugees from exploitation who'd found sanctuary not in hiding, but in choosing each other freely, from nothing but hope and the simple courage to trust again.